We're going to start off painting the frame and the casting, some of the castings and the Allis Chalmers parts as well, with this Shopline JP 375. It's an etching primer. It kind of bites into the metal and gives it a good solid base to start with. I'll come back over top of this and I'll spray JP 202, which is a surfacing primer. It's a lot thicker and it builds up small imperfections. But this here is the etching primer. It's an epoxy primer, but it's etching. It kind of, well, like I said, bite into it. It does a really good job. I've had great luck with this stuff. You mix it 2 to 1. 2 parts of this to 1 part of the hardener, which is JH3770. So anyway, that's the etching primer. Like I said, we'll go from there with the surfacing primer. About 2 coats of it, maybe 3, depending on the piece. About 2 to 3 coats of paint, the color, and then about 2 coats of clear over top of that. So this is our beginning. So we'll just have to watch the video and see where we go from here. And hopefully at the end, I'll show you a video of what everything looks like. Just a tidbit here. I'm getting ready to start putting surfacing primer, on these pieces. These are the pieces I put etching primer on first. Castings and so on, I like to get them done first so they won't rust, flash rust. They're the worst about it. But I'm getting ready to put surfacing primer on it. I don't know if you can see or not. If you pay attention here, these pits. Oh, here we go. See all these pits over here. Pay attention to these. That's what the surfacing primer is supposed to do. It's supposed to help smooth these out. Now this is probably from the factory, had a bit of that look to it. but obviously not near as much as it is now. So that's where I like to use that at. This is on a Allis Chalmers tractor I've been working on. I threw these in because I needed to, had just a couple little tiny pieces needed to do, so they're extra compared to what I did have. There's only a manifold here and the other piece. Now the manifold, it doesn't really need the surfacing primer, but I'm going to go ahead and put it on mainly for the intake. It'll stay looking decent. It'll burn all this off up here on the exhaust part of it, but nothing you can do about that. I've used heat resistant paint for. It doesn't last. You might as well don't even worry about it. Paint it so the intake part looks good, and it'll burn the top off, and don't worry about that. Now, like these pieces here, this is a foot pedal for the little Minneapolis Moline Mocraft. In here, if I can get that right in this direction right here, you'll see pits and stuff too. It's just the castings. The castings are made that way. It will smooth those out. You're going to be sitting on, say this is your tractor or whatever, you're sitting on, you're going to be looking at these pedals, the steering wheel, the casting that goes up around the dash. You're going to be sitting there looking at those the whole time you're on it in a show or whatever, or those are the pieces that people look at. So that's why I like to have them a little smoother than that. Granted, factory, they would have been you know, a rougher casting. Not rough, but you know, anyway. You're casting on the transmission back here, same type of deal. So, and you'll see once the surfacing primer's on there, it still looks like a casting, but it has that texture to it, excuse me, but it's not as rough as this. So, now one thing I do like about it, on frame rails, a frame rail from a factory is going to have just a little bit of roughness to it, not much, but when you start putting paint on it, it will smooth out quite a bit. So I really like to have surfacing primer on frame rails because being a steel piece, they don't have the casting imperfections that a cast piece does. So just a tidbit there. Your handles, I'll coat these really thick with the surfacing primer so they can be sanded just a little bit. Of course, the grill will get it, and then it'll get wet sanded down as well. Now I will leave, I don't know if you can see it, right here. These are the little weld marks. Depending on what I'm doing, sometimes I'll put a skim coat of filler over these, smooth them out. But anymore, if it's a more rare one you're trying to put back to as close as you can get to factory, I don't like to cover those up as much because that would have been shown from the factory. And a few down along in here too. You can't see it there. Down along here where they're spot welds is what they are. But they wouldn't have been covered up from the factory. Well, not on this piece. Now on cars and stuff, yeah, you probably would have filled them, but this would not have had it done. So, and the surfacing primer will take care of a lot of that. It'll make it look more like the old enamel paints, where when you put them on thicker, it covered up some of these imperfections. You know, you can still see them, but it didn't show up near as bad. So that's why I like the surfacing primer, because it kind of gives that look to it. So I'll show you when we're done what we look like, or what it looks like when it's done. Thanks. This is the surfacing primer right here, JP202 shop line. It's a mix of 4 parts of this to 1 part of the hardener. And if you want to thin it down a little bit, you put in 1 part of medium reducer. I typically, on mine, will put in 4 to 1 of this and leave the reducer out on the first coat. Now, if I go back with the second coat, I'll put the reducer in on it. But this time here, everything is cold. I did not get in here and get it heated up as quickly as I would have liked. Heater's going right now. I'll turn it off before I start, but at least take the chill off. But since everything's colder, I'm going to go ahead and put a little bit of reducer in it today. I'll just go back and add a excuse me, I'll just go back and add another coat if I decide it needs it. I don't think it will. I think it'll be fine. But anyway, we're going to use that for now and try it. But hold on a second, let me mix this up. Again, this is a PPG product. They're shop line. I really like them. They're cheaper. It's not cheap paint, I'll put it that way, but it's not as expensive as some of your really high-end paints. And for what I'm doing with this stuff here, you know, you wouldn't want to spend that type of money on a garden tractor, or sometimes even a tractor, depending on what model it is, for the really high-end paints. So this works great. As you look in here at the right up in here, you'll notice that's a lot less it's a lot smoother, excuse me, which is what you want. Flywheel for the transmission is better. The other brake pedal, not brake pedal, footrest, excuse me. So the bracket for the deck mount and the transmission again. So yeah, I mean it'll look real good whenever you get the paint and clear coat on there. Like I said, I will knock a little bit of this down up here, and you can see it's got little they look like little raised spots. Knock that down with some sandpaper, knock that out of there. That's just part of after it was sandblasted and everything. Every once in a while you'll get those come up, especially like that. Just knock them down a little bit. Makes a big difference on it. And I don't know if you can see here or not. Right in here, there's some too. Since the surfacing primer is thick enough, when you sand that down, it'll take those off of there, and you'll never see that. But anyway, so next step will be painting, and we will show you what it looks like after that. Time for a little color now. We're going to do the AC pieces first, the Allis Chalmers parts, because there's only 2 of them, and I can easily move them out when I do the brown for the Minneapolis Moline. This is, of course, the reducer. This is a can of paint that I've had forever. Finally using up the last of it. It's still good. It is JB. I'll find a better can around here. Same as like this here. Basically the same stuff. That's International Harvester Red that I've had for a long time as well. It's still good. This paint lasts a long time, but now projects like the customer's Minneapolis Moline garden tractor there will get fresh paint, obviously, but stuff of my own, like the little Allis pieces, I don't mind holding on to the paint and using it for them. So, but anyway, it's mixed together, 1-to-1 ratio. I don't know if I showed you this earlier on the other cans, on the primers and stuff, but on your primer, on the side of these Shopline cans, they'll give you the mixing ratios, 4-to-1, or the 4-to-1-to-1 on this 202, which is what I sprayed yesterday, the surfacing primer. On the paint, let's see here, 1-to-1 ratio. 1 part JB, which is your base coat, 1 part JR50, and the X is the slow, medium, or fast reducer, excuse me. I use a 506, which is, I believe, medium. Yeah. depends on the temperature, but I like the 506. So anyway, so we will go ahead and spray that. I've got it all mixed up here. That's about the consistency you want it. So anyway, we'll go ahead and get it mixed up and spray it on. Okay, I'm going to try this here and see. It's this piece here and this piece over here that I'm going to paint. So we'll see if the phone picks up long enough to do that. I don't know if you can tell this or not, but it's flashed over. If you look up here, it's really kind of dull looking. It's still got a little sheen to it, but it has, like right here, that's dull looking. It's flashed over, which means it's started to set up. So now we can go ahead and put, yeah, if you look at that, you can tell it's shiny, but it's not finished shiny. So now we're ready to go ahead and put the last coat on. I basically got 2 coats on there right now. We'll go ahead and put this last coat on and they should be good. I did flip the manifold upside down. I had noticed there was a few spots that didn't get coated, and so it's easier to do it. This will burn off anyway, but I still like to, right in here though, that's the intake side. It won't get as hot and it won't burn off, so it needs to be coated right up, in here. But and of course in here, right here, those all need to be coated. So flipped it upside down, so we should be good to go. We're going to mix up the clear coat. That's JC661. It's a panel clear. It is a 2-to-1 ratio. 2 parts of the clear to 1 part of the hardener. This is medium top coat hardener. So I want 12 on here. It's about what I need. So pour this on in, and we're going to go to the 8 mark. There we go. 8. And then finish it off to the 12 mark with hardener. And that is 2 to 1, or yeah, 2 to 1, excuse me. Stir that up. Kind of looks foamy right now. If you stir it up, it'll get clear. But that's what you gotta do. I'll go ahead and show you then the clear coat process, and we'll be finished with this batch. Okay, finished up the clear coat. You can see how much shinier that is. Now the one thing I like to do, and I took my gloves off, otherwise I oh well, hold on a second. Let me put one on here. Okay, got a glove on now, one of these little latex gloves. These things work wonders for this because they're white. What I like to do is kind of see, you can see the clear coat on there, how shiny it is. What I like to do, to make sure there's no runs and how the paint actually, or the clear coat laid out, I'll run my hand down over it and watch the reflection. You can see my reflection in there. It's got a little bit of orange peel in it, you know, which is to be expected. I'm not overly worried about it on a piece like this. Now on sheet metal I would be. But anyway, you can watch the reflection in there and see what it looks like. See? That kind of gives me a good idea how I got the paint all the way around it. Now on a piece like this, it's not really, you'll see it, but it's not going to show up as much, which is, it's not that big a deal there. But, you know, even on here, you can kind of see it. But you can see that clear coat, how much deeper it is. The paint's quite a bit deeper in color and everything. And the way it looks. Now, it's obviously going to look a lot lighter in here with the light on it, but you get it outside, you can see it, and it sure looks a lot better. Let's see if I can, you can kind of see it in that, but it's too dark over here. I really need to get some different lights in here. See, there you go. And that's even a cast piece. That's what I want to see, though. I want to be able to see my reflection even in a cast piece. So, yeah, I can see it there. You can kind of see it. There you go. That's what I want to see. These are frame rails. So, yeah. There we go. But anyway, so she's all done now. The one thing I did notice on this, this is the handle to lift the deck up again. Should be fairly smooth. So there we go. Now, yeah, granted, it's got some pits and stuff in it because it's not perfect. It's not sheet metal. No sense in trying to get it absolutely perfect. But there you go. You can look down here and you see reflection on it down through here. But like the button here at the very end, I don't know if I get it to focus on it or not. It's trying to focus on the frame behind it, but oh well. Anyway, point I was after was that's something that if you're sitting there at a show or you're sitting on it, waiting to go through a parade or something with it, you're going to be, most people, or maybe it's just me, I don't know, who knows, but you sit there fiddle with things, and the times I've taken a garden tractor through a parade, I'll sit there and mess with the dang buttons on the top of them, flipping back and forth. I want that to feel smooth when you stick your hand on it, and because it's something you're going to notice. Whoever's on the tractor or owns it, if they're taking it through a parade, they're going to notice that. And it's something, it's a feel. Steering wheel, something like that. It's just things that you're right in your face. And so that's why I want something like that to look real nice. As well as, you know, the handle itself. This piece here is actually what that handle fits around. Comes up in through here and then up this direction and latches into these. I want that to look real nice too. See the reflection in it. So these rivets, I like the rivets to look real smooth when done. Anyway, so we're done with this batch. Here we go. Pulley over here. I moved this around a couple times to get different angles at it. These spokes are really hard to get. This here, I didn't come out here and get these because one thing I've learned over time is not to put too much paint on these because it makes them miserable to get the wheels on. So, and actually these pieces right here on the frame are the same way. These actually fit on those right here and here, and actually that does too. Your handle. So those are miserable to get those handles and foot braces on if they got a lot of paint on them. So I try not to put too much paint on them. Otherwise, you just got to sand it off and then it looks like crap. And then you got to go back and touch it up. So anyway, there we go. Thanks for watching another episode. Hopefully we'll have more paint projects like this. I got the Midnight Express frame coming in next after these pieces. So I'm kind of looking forward to getting into here. I got to clean the floor up and everything to get it in. And I got to figure out, I got an A-frame in here that I will probably hook to it and lift it up and sit it up like this so I can paint undersides on it. I got to figure out how to do that, but we'll come up with something. So until then, have a good week and thanks for watching. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we are finally finished with this batch. Here's your Minneapolis Moline Mocraft parts, the brown ones. The Allis parts, the manifold, and the rear hitch for the little B tractor. So you can see here how these turned out. Really glossy. That's pretty smooth really for what it is. See the data plate there, messed off. Here's the castings I was talking about. You can still see they got casting texture to them, but they're not near as thick as or heavy as it was. This one here, you can still see the pits in it, but again, they're not as noticeable as they have been. That surfacing primer really does a great job of taking care of that. So here's the handle for the it would lift the deck. Now he may have the deck for it, but he's not putting it on there. So a lot of people that collect garden tractors don't keep the decks on them because it makes them harder to transport. Here's the front axle for it. You can see the let's go and turn it here. There we go. See the finish on there. They're a little dusty right there. Yeah. And it's just the dust smearing on it, unfortunately. But yeah, they come out real well. So this is the first batch. I will probably do the sheet metal I may do it next. I've got a truck frame's got to go in before I do any more on this, but it'll probably be, I would say the next ones will probably be either some sheet metal for it or maybe the wheels, so I get it up off, so I can put the frame together and get it up off the ground where I can roll it around. It'll probably be the wheels, I'd say. But anyway, that's what she looks like now. There's our first batch done. I'm extremely pleased with it. So hopefully I get this little tractor running. I'll have a video on that too. We've had it where it would start, but it doesn't run right. We never have got it to run correctly. It won't pull itself around, and so hopefully this manifold fixes it, because the other one I've got had a hole back in here, I believe, on it. Well, this is the intake side, and it's sucking too much air through there, so it's not getting the mixture it needs. So I'm hoping this little intake will fix that problem. So we'll find out. If I'll make a video on it when we do it. The only thing I do is put a radiator in it and put the manifold on it, and we can try it. So hoping that tractor, I bought it as a basket case, the little basket case. The only thing that was there was the transmission and boxes of parts. So so we'll see what it comes out at. But I'm looking forward to getting this one done for the customer. Again, this is ours, so kind of got a little different variety here, but so hopefully I can show you the whole process, start to finish on this little Mocraft. So have a good one, and thanks for watching. Hit the like and subscribe button. We'd really appreciate it. Thanks.